German SUVs have defined luxury for decades. They've been the symbol of engineering mastery, of refined taste, of making it. And for a long time, that reputation was earned. But in 2026, something has quietly shifted. The prestige is still there. The badges, the interiors, the road presence. What's changed is what happens after you sign the contract. Because behind those premium panels and sophisticated dashboards, a very different reality is unfolding. One measured not in horsepower, but in depreciation curves and repair invoices. And by the time most owners figure it out, the damage is already done. The issue isn't that these vehicles stopped being impressive. Most of them are still remarkable machines, smooth, powerful, technologically advanced. The problem is a fundamental disconnect between what they cost to own and what they're actually worth to keep. Maintenance bills are climbing, reliability is inconsistent in ways it never used to be, and resale values are collapsing faster than the market can absorb. In a financial environment where buyers are thinking longer and harder about long-term value, some of these vehicles simply don't hold up to scrutiny anymore. This isn't about brand loyalty or personal preference. It's about numbers. Because when a $70,000 SUV loses more than half its value in 3 years, while demanding near-exotic maintenance costs, the math stops working. And it stops working against you. So, here are the 8 German SUVs that, despite their reputations, are proving to be some of the worst investments you can make in 2026. Starting at number 8, the Audi Q7. On paper, it's still a compelling case. 3 rows of seating, a refined cabin, technology that genuinely impresses, and an exterior that reads as confident and understated at the same time. It's the kind of vehicle that checks every box on the showroom visit. The problems emerge later. The Q7's architecture leans heavily on interconnected electronic systems. And as those systems age, the failure points multiply. What starts as a minor warning light can quickly cascade into a diagnostic session that costs more than most people spend on a used car. The issue isn't purely mechanical. It's software-dependent complexity that dealerships charge premium rates to interpret. And as reliability concerns have grown in the used market, buyers are adjusting their offers accordingly. Resale values on the Q7 have softened measurably. It's not collapsing, but it's no longer the stronghold it once was. For a vehicle at this price point, that matters. Number 7. The Mercedes-Benz GLE. The GLE has long been the default answer when someone asks for a mid-sized luxury SUV. It carries the 3-pointed star, it delivers genuine comfort, and the interior materials hold up visually for years. But refinement and reliability are not the same thing. Recent GLE generations have drawn repeated criticism around suspension behavior and onboard technology stability, 2 areas where a vehicle at this price has no excuse for inconsistency. Maintenance packages exist, but they rarely cover the full scope of what ownership actually demands. When something goes wrong outside of warranty, and statistically something does, the invoices reflect a vehicle positioned well above what the experience justifies. Used market demand has cooled. Buyers who once saw the GLE as a safe choice are starting to pause, and that hesitation is showing up directly in resale pricing. At number 6, the BMW X5. For years, the X5 has been the gold standard for performance-oriented luxury SUVs. It drives with precision, carries strong brand recognition, and manages to feel athletic despite its size. That reputation is real, but it's being steadily undermined by what happens under the hood. Over time. Modern X5 variants are layered with advanced systems, hybrid drivetrains, adaptive chassis components, integrated driver assistance platforms. Each of these systems adds capability and adds exposure. The more complex a vehicle becomes, the more things can go wrong, and the more expensive those failures become to diagnose and repair. Once the factory warranty expires, X5 ownership costs can escalate rapidly, particularly in the plug-in hybrid variants, where powertrain complexity doubles. Resale values are still respectable by average standards, but they're no longer holding the way BMW's brand once commanded. The depreciation curve has steepened. Number 5, and this one tends to surprise people, the Porsche Cayenne. The Porsche badge carries enormous weight. It implies performance, precision, and a certain mechanical purity that most luxury SUVs can only approximate. The Cayenne delivers on that performance promise. What it doesn't deliver is long-term financial logic. Parts costs for Porsche vehicles operate on a different scale entirely. Routine maintenance that would be manageable on a competitor becomes a significant line item on a Cayenne service record. And because ownership is expensive, the pool of buyers willing to absorb those costs in the used market is limited. Demand narrows. Prices soften faster than the brand image suggests they should. You're paying for the experience of driving a Porsche SUV, and over time you're paying for it again and again in ways that don't appear in the original purchase calculation. Number 4, the Volkswagen Touareg. The Touareg exists in a difficult position in the market, and that positioning is a significant part of its problem. It aims to deliver a near-luxury experience without requiring a fully luxury budget. On the surface, that sounds like a value proposition. In practice, it creates a vehicle that doesn't fully satisfy either audience. Buyers seeking genuine prestige gravitate toward the Audi or Mercedes badge. Buyers seeking efficiency and practicality find more compelling options at lower price points. The Touareg ends up without a clear, natural buyer. And despite carrying the VW nameplate rather than a premium badge, its maintenance costs align closely with its German luxury counterparts, making it difficult to justify against alternatives that either cost less to own or deliver more perceived value. Resale numbers reflect this identity problem clearly. At number 3, the Mercedes-Benz GLS. This is where the stakes genuinely escalate. The GLS isn't just a large SUV. It's marketed as the S-Class of the SUV world, the ultimate expression of what Mercedes can offer in this body style. Full-size luxury, 7-seat capacity, every comfort and technology feature the brand produces. But size and complexity create their own vulnerabilities. The GLS carries a substantial weight burden that accelerates wear on suspension components and drivetrain systems over time. Out-of-warranty ownership in a vehicle this large and this complex can become financially draining very quickly. And despite sitting at the top of the Mercedes SUV lineup, it still faces the same depreciation reality as every other entry on this list, arguably amplified because the original purchase price creates more room to fall when a vehicle starts at 6 figures and depreciates aggressively. The dollar losses are not abstract, they're significant. Number 2, the BMW X7. The X7 represents BMW's most ambitious attempt at the full-size luxury SUV segment. It's a genuinely impressive machine. It's spacious, technologically sophisticated, and built to make a statement. The problem is the degree of engineering ambition packed into its platform. The X7 is not a simple vehicle. It is an extraordinarily complex one. Advanced air suspension systems, high-voltage hybrid components, sophisticated driver assistance architectures, each feature is a potential point of failure, and as these vehicles age, those points multiply. Servicing costs scale with that complexity in ways buyers don't always anticipate at purchase. Used market hesitation is growing. Buyers aware of long-term ownership risks are either negotiating harder or walking away entirely. The result is shrinking resale margins for a vehicle that commanded significant premiums just a few years ago. And at number 1, the Audi Q8. The Q8 is Audi's flagship statement. Dramatic exterior design, a stunning interior, and performance credentials that position it among the most desirable vehicles the brand produces. It was designed to be aspirational. In 2026, it is experiencing one of the most aggressive depreciation curves in the luxury SUV segment. Despite strong initial demand, resale values on the Q8 have dropped significantly and quickly. What was a $70,000 to $90,000 vehicle on the lot is becoming a $40-something thousand vehicle in the used market within just a few years. And the drop isn't slowing. Maintenance costs remain high. Parts remain expensive. And the used market is sending a clear signal. Demand for the Q8 is weaker than its original pricing assumed. Owners who purchased expecting strong value retention have absorbed real, substantial financial losses. The depreciation shock on the Q8 is not hypothetical. It is documented, ongoing, and accelerating. The lesson across all 8 of these vehicles is the same, and it's worth stating plainly. Prestige no longer guarantees values. These are still impressive machines. Refined, capable, and genuinely well-engineered in many respects. But in 2026, that's not enough to justify the total cost of ownership. The real price of these vehicles isn't what you pay when you buy them. It's what you absorb, in maintenance, in depreciation, and in resale loss, over the years that follow. For any buyer evaluating a German luxury SUV right now, the advice is direct. Look past the badge. Look past the interior. Look at the 5-year cost of ownership, the out-of-warranty repair frequency, and the used market trajectory. Because the difference between a sound investment and a costly mistake is rarely visible on the showroom floor. It shows up later, in numbers that don't lie, and in a market that has already made its judgment.